Hello, Arrow.
Hey, Arrow.
Hello and good morning, you two. How are you guys doing?
Bright and
Great.
early over here in Los Angeles. Nicole's coming at you from Sydney, Australia.
Yeah, where it's close to midnight. So
You guys do things on this show where I am so connected to the environment behind you. And you really do challenge me as a creative person to look it up, research it, find out more about where they are, find out more about this storyline. I mean, that's what I love about this. It's almost like it's interactive.
Love that it's set in a location that's as unique as far north Queensland. I didn't know anything about it until I read the books by Candace Fox. It's such a unique environment. We want to bring that to the forefront in the show because even Australians say that it's a unique part of their country. So I'm glad to hear you say that, pal.
I mean, it's almost like you're inviting us to take a new journey in life. I mean, that's what I love about this. And plus, you've got two characters here that really, they have nothing in common, but they do. And that opens up my heart.
It's nice to hear. That's right. You know, not every day you'd find a police detective and an ex-convict hanging out, and shooting the shit. And so navigating that relationship where they really don't have much to talk about, and yet there's really no one else in the world that will talk to either of them. They're both sort of been ostracized in their own way from the rest of society. So watching these two having to deal with each other is most of the fun of the show.
yeah, I agree. And the things that they connect on is the dark, like the stuff that sits all the way down. It's none of the surface area stuff. It's it's the stuff beneath that.
So when it comes to the key mystery of this story, I mean, is it revealed to you, or do you play along with this because we've got to have a natural reaction?
Is the mystery revealed?
Yeah, because you make it feel like that it's happening in the presence of what is right now. That showcases how brilliant you are as actors. But my wife and I will talk about it going, no way. No, that was just spoken to them right before that camera turned on. Now they have to react to it.
That's part of the magic, man. That's part of the magic.
I mean, because what you put into your role, Nicole, I love the way that you can take a character and it's almost like you breathe the life into them and make them like somebody that we know.
Oh, that's very nice of you to say. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, she there's a lot of Amanda to explore, and they're the fun characters to play as actors. And so I relished in the opportunity to come back a second time and really get into the nitty gritty with her. It was lots of fun.
Thomas, as a student of creativity, I mean, you are really involved with anything creative. As that comic book storyteller, and then you get a role that's on a camera, they go hand in hand, don't they? It's like you have to envision it and then bring it to life.
Yeah, I started producing and got to direct a couple of the episodes this season. And making comic books is certainly great training for any visual storyteller, especially a director. So I do have another comic coming out. It's called The Lichen. We're going to announce that at San Diego Comic-Con at the end of this month, actually on the same day that Troppo premieres on Prime Video.
I think this is so cool that during Prime Week, we have a brand new show and a brand new season on Amazon Prime.
I love that you can get all kinds of different shows. We're starting to open up to a lot of worldwide television. There's some great stuff coming out of the UK. There's some terrific stuff coming out of Australia. And we're proud to be a part of that and to bring kind of that new sensibility to America. That's part of what attracted me to this show. It's a exotic land for most Americans.
Yeah. Nicole, do you think the reason why we are so attracted to a great detective show and story is because we want to figure it out before you guys do?
Yeah, I also think because the world is so crazy right now, it's nice to switch off and to just fully immerse yourself in a story and to work out the whodunit of it all. I love that part of it too. It's what excites me.
Oh, you as Amanda, that is the perfect role.
There aren't many characters like Amanda that have come my way, and she feels very much a part of my DNA now. And it's always sad to kind of take off the tattoos for the last time and unbuckle those boots. But she's with me. She's with me always. In hard rooms, I take Amanda.
With music and with acting, I've always been inspired by collaborations, and the story in this really does bring a collaboration together. And you guys have this way of making it so unique.
They're a unique couple of characters, and it really, as actors, we're always looking for unique characters to play. I mean, there's only so many ways you can tell a murder mystery, but for us, the fun is in watching these two characters try to get along with each other, because they're really sort of the last two people that would ever be friends with each other, because they're so opposite. Nicole's character having spent 10 years in prison, and Ted being a former police detective. They're not, they wouldn't be hanging out buying each other drinks in a bar. And yet in this story, they're kind of the only people that will sort of make the effort to understand each other. So we've had a lot of fun watching these two try to navigate these treacherous waters of respect and even love,
Nicole, I love it that the writers this year gave you an opportunity to kind of let Amanda let down her hair.
It was really great this season for Amanda to kind of let down her guard a little bit and show some of her vulnerability. We get to meet the incredible actress Zinzio Kenyo, who plays the Constable Sweeney. And yeah, I don't want to give away too much, but watching Amanda navigate romance is something to see.
For the two of you being on Amazon Prime, I mean, heck, just walk in any street globally. I mean, people are going to go, "Oh my God, that's them."
That's right. We're a worldwide operation now.
Wow. Yeah, we're taking over.
Wow. Well, congratulations on this brand new season on Amazon Prime. And I cannot wait to talk to you guys as you continue to grow as directors, as writers, as actors, everything creative.
Hey, that's really nice to hear, pal. Yeah, we're having a blast. And so we think that people watching it will too. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Be brilliant today, okay?
Okay.
You got it. All right.
Done.
It's today.
Okay.
Welcome back, Bill.
Hey,
Welcome
good
back.
morning, Arrow.
Yeah.
I didn't go anywhere. I was working all week long, streaming softball games and playing music at the stadium.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so not when it's 98 degrees and 100% humidity every single day.
Yeah, come down to the south.
No thanks. No thanks. It's probably better down there than it is here right now. It is unbearable. But anyway, Jared's in better weather, though. Jared Klickstein, take it away with Arrow.
Good morning, Jared. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
Fantastic. I'm very excited to have a conversation with you. And the reason why is because for a couple of decades now, on iHeartRadio, in my daily writing, I have always spoken that the true geniuses of this modern day world are those who are coming from the street, because you know survival, you know how to get out of things, and you know how to create conversations. And I just think this is such a blessing to actually speak with somebody who has been to hell and doesn't want us to go in there.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm honored that you'd say something like that. Yeah. I mean, listen, we've experienced things that no person can even imagine, and it makes you appreciate the little things in life. And I just, it's completely changed my view on being alive.
To write a book, I know what that journey is like. That takes a lot of commitment, but it also requires sacrifice. Where did you find that inside your overcrowded heart?
I just felt like it had to be told. I mean, I'm not incredibly educated. I'm not incredibly intelligent, but this story just had to be told. And I just put everything I had in it, and I put years into it. And I rewrote it many times, and then I was eventually lucky enough to get an agent, and then I got a publisher, and then I got, they helped me with an editor, and I just kind of poured myself into it, and I really grew a lot during the process, and got a better grasp of the English language, and I don't know, this story just had to be told, I felt.
One of the things that I've always talked about is street speak. I mean, isn't there a language of its own when you're on the street?
Yeah, there's all kinds of slang, and there's all kinds of even like body language, and you just, you are fighting for your life on a daily basis. Everyone could help you, or they could kill you. I mean, so there's just you really have to dissect every sort of in between words of what people are saying to you, and try to read them and figure out, is this going to be a friend or a foe? And because a foe is someone that you could actually end up dead.
So many of us are, spoiled rotten when it comes to escaping the heat or escaping the cold. But you had to live in it. How do you mentally prep yourself for a situation like that?
Well, drugs help a lot.
Yes.
Drugs sort of numb you, and especially heroin. Heroin is just, or opiates in general, just numb you. So it makes sleeping on concrete not that bad. The weather, man, yeah. I mean, listen, you don't shower for sometimes months at a time, and you don't eat a decent meal, and you don't have a pillow, and it's you sort of just get used to it, to be honest. But it's really the drugs. The drugs just help tremendously in that regard.
You talk about how, not taking the baths and stuff like that. I know one of the things that we do at our grocery store here in Charlotte, our bathrooms are open for them to come and take a shower. We want them to take a shower. Because I believe that as a community, we embrace everything, all changes in all walks of life.
Yeah. That's listen, where I live, there are like some access, there's access to like public showers and things like that. And, I was on drugs, so I couldn't really assess how dirty I was most of the time.
Right.
And also heroin sort of can sometimes, it doesn't really, it makes you like not sweat, and it makes you not smell. And you kind of like lose a lot of aspects of being human, I guess. And so you can sort of go longer without showering. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I took a lot of bird baths in public bathrooms and things like that. And once in a while you get lucky and you end up in the hospital, or you end up in a mental institution. You get to take a nice hot shower. Yeah.
The book we're talking about is Crooked Smile. Because I am a book author, that title is what gets the attention of a passerby in any bookstore, or even if they're on Amazon. So what led you to that name title?
Oh, well, it's the title can be interpreted maybe as corny, but or metaphoric, but it's actually quite literal. I was homeless, did a bunch of drugs, and blacked out, and woke up, and my face was pretty destroyed, and I was actually missing part of it. I still don't exactly know what happened, but it appears that I got sliced with a knife, and then did some damage on my own, and I actually had to get reconstructive surgery on my mouth. So I have some scarring, and that is where the title comes from. And it's a little bit more interesting than that, but I won't spoil the book. But it's quite the title is literal.
Yeah. Listeners need to know that they need to take their time in reading this book, because your words are authentic. And it's not like sitting there watching 48 Hours or some sort of documentary where they have painted this picture of what people of homelessness is all about, or someone who's addicted to drugs. You are so authentic in the way that you write. I mean, your editor must have loved you.
Well, to be honest, they gave me an editor, and the editor sort of tried to rewrite the book, and then I sort of said, I don't want to do this. And I kind of fought with the publisher about that. And the book actually wasn't heavily edited at all.
That's why it's real.
Yeah. They and listen, God bless them and everything, but I didn't really want them to rewrite the book. And so I don't know. Listen, it's not perfect. I'm not Shakespeare. I'm not, Thomas Pynchon or anything, but it's a pretty easy read. I'm not incredibly, I don't know, I don't consider myself like incredibly intelligent or good at prose or anything. It's a pretty simple read, but listen, there's some good stories in there, and it's real, it's raw, and it's from, my heart.
I can so relate with the story about the editor, because on my second book, she did not want me to write the book the way that I did, and she wanted to correct it. And so, but I begged her to stay on as the editor. But what she did on the book cover, she spelled her name backwards so people wouldn't recognize it.
Yeah. Well, listen, I had an editor. I actually paid an editor personally at first before I even had a book deal. And he really helped me, and he helped me restructure he didn't really rewrite anything. He just helped me a bit with structure and some suggestions on a future draft. And he helped me tremendously. And then, nothing against the second editor that the publisher hired, but, it was like they were like, hey, you're not really a professional writer, and this person is, so let's just let them sort of like rework every sentence. And I didn't like that. And they gambled, and I really credit them with believing in me. And so far people are really liking the book. So I think I think we're all happy with the way that decision was made.
Well, you sticking to your guns reminds me so much of Mark Twain, Jared, in the way that Mark Twain said, you have got to remain loyal to your accent, and your writing is your accent. So, I mean, I'm so proud.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's where they kind of came around, and because I said, hey, listen, this is my voice, and my voice may be imperfect, but this is not like a fictional story. This is sort of the story of my life, and it's it's very graphic. It's a very graphic topic, and I really respect them in ending up agreeing with my proposal to just sort of leave it, most of it, the way that I wrote it.
You say graphic, but listeners need to know there's also some humor in there, Jared. I mean, you do some good stuff in there that make you go, yeah.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Listen, it's very dark subject matter, but oftentimes very dark things are very funny after the fact. And I try to be funny, and I try to be lighthearted. And listen, frankly, it is funny. It's funny when drugs make people do incredibly stupid things and act not in their own self-interest, and hilarity often does ensue from that.
Who is Michael Schellenberger, because he starts this book off? I mean, that's the way I stepped into this book. It's like, ooh, this is going to be interesting.
Yeah, Michael Schellenberger is a friend. Frankly, he's much more famous than me. He's just he's an author. He wrote a book called San Francisco that I was a really big fan of, and he sort of had some of the similar ideas about how we address addiction and homelessness, and I'm actually a former homeless drug addict, so I reached out to him and said, hey, listen, I actually agree with everything you're saying, and I happen to have been homeless and addicted, and we sort of just struck up a friendship. And he's a lot smarter than me and a lot more accredited, and he's written multiple books, and he really helped me out, and we're mostly in agreement about all these things. So he graciously wrote the foreword to this book.
Yeah, you use a word inside the book, Crooked Smile, that I was taken back, but and the reason why is because it's such an old-fashioned word, but it says so much, and only because Rod Stewart was put in jail because of it. Vagrancy. You don't hear that word anymore, but you use it, and I knew exactly what you were talking about.
Yeah. I was a vagrant that did a lot of vagrancy, or experienced a lot of vagrancy, and not that we should criminalize vagrancy, or but people have to be incentivized to stop doing bad behavior, and they have to be rewarded for good behavior, and they have to be given a helping hand to put them on the path of good behavior. Whereas now we're sort of just giving people a helping hand to continue bad behavior, and that will only lead to more bad behavior, and it incentivizes self-destruction for thousands of people in the city that I live in. And I'm not some person that says we have to just lock everyone up and punish everybody, but we have to provide the infrastructure for people to find a path or sometimes be nudged towards a path, or maybe even mandated to a path of living a vibrant, self-sufficient life, and we're just not doing that right now.
I just wish that we had more listeners in the way that people would take the time to listen to those who've come from the street or are on the street. Because, I mean, Willie and I mean, every time I saw Willie, he would sit down and tell me about why he loves music and how he plays it on his guitar. And it's like, and he would play it for me. And it's like, I just wish people would take the time to learn another culture.
Yeah. Well, I wish people that were in charge of making policies and ran this country would listen to a homeless or an ex-homeless person for once when dealing with drafting policies around homelessness and addiction. They don't seem to do that. They like to listen to people that went to Harvard or have PhDs in social work, and people that have never slept outside. And at some point, we're gonna have to start listening to people that slept outside if we're gonna try to address the problem of thousands of people that are sleeping outside right now.
How did you keep yourself in a very down-to-earth level way of sharing the book, where you weren't over-preaching and you weren't over-teaching? That it's like, say, it's almost like you've taken this Polaroid picture of your life and saying, here you go, enjoy it.
Yeah, well, I don't have an ego about it. I don't think I'm better than anybody. I mean, fortunately, I have. Well, listen, I have a world-class education in being a scoundrel, basically. Yeah. So. I can, with that comes a bit of you can't really get on your high horse and scold people into listening to your experience of being a terrible person. So, or a badly behaved person. So, I'm humble. I'm just humble about it. Because frankly, it's kind of an embarrassing thing to be an expert on. And, so I try not to scold people into listening to me, but at the same time, I'm letting them know, like, hey, listen, there's no schooling that you can get for this. There's no degree that you can get in understanding this better than someone that actually lived it.
But one thing that you have that so many people don't is that you have vision in the way that you can recognize things that we don't see, and before it even gets here. And that's what I'm inspired by when it comes to you, Jared.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm trying to really give the 360, account of this, and it's not just about me, and it's not just about my experience. It's about like getting us out of this situation for thousands of people. And listen, I'm very different than the next guy that's been homeless. We're all different. We're all very unique, and we all ended up in these places for different reasons. And the solution for us getting out of this may be different for every single individual, but there's going to be some overlap, and largely there's a lot of people out there that are suffering from addiction and mental illness, and that is the reason why they're homeless, and we need to start addressing that and coming up with a comprehensive plan to get them out of it.
Did you feel violated by what I call the professional people that are standing on street corners? In other words, they're on there, they've got their signs. We give our dollars and we give food and water, and then when it's all said and done, they go home in their fancy car.
I mean, I'm not offended by it. I mean, if people, if people are going to hand them money, I mean, that they're going to hand them money, but I don't know how well that's working anymore. I mean, there's just such an abundance of homeless people at this point that I think and also, people don't really carry cash anymore. I just, but are there grifters? Sure. I mean, I was one. I mean, there were times that I actually wasn't homeless. Technically, I was just on drugs and would pretend to be homeless and beg for change, or give people sob stories at gas stations and ask for money. And, it's oftentimes if someone gives you a sob story at a gas station, I mean, just in my experience, most time they're probably not telling the whole truth, and there might be an underlying issue of addiction. After this book, I'm going to put this in the universe, Jared. I would love for you to write stories about, where you can just create some novels and about other people of homelessness that really that don't exist, but yet inside your books they do, because you've got that experience inside your soul to be a storyteller. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think I could definitely see myself going down that path, and I've just met so many interesting characters out there on the street that I think that I could find inspiration to form my own characters and my own stories about this subject. Yeah, because I guess real life experience is what fuels someone's ability to sort of create a universe of stories.
Absolutely. You got to come back to this show anytime in the future, Jared. I love just listening to your soul.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm honored. I'd love to come back.
Excellent. Well, you be brilliant today, okay?
Okay, thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Recording
And
in
this one's gonna be
progress.
20 minutes.
All right.
Hello and good morning.
Hey, Arrow.
Hey, Arrow.
Hey,
You get the full 20 if you need it.
how you doing today, Matt?
Doing awesome.
Excellent. Dude, I can't believe this is season 16. Why, my God, the years are flying by.
It's crazy. I mean, as someone said, like our little baby can drive now. It's crazy.
I got to give you kudos on something here. From one broadcaster to another, your storytelling capability when things are so unpredictable in front of you are just amazing.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it. You know, it's something we've worked hard on and had a lot of practice with, and I think with Ninja, that's really what it is. And you know, with every show, really, you're telling a story, and I think Ninja Warrior does that in these bite-sized moments of these runs, and then figuring out, you know, what's the story going on overall, and it's really fun. I think, you know, having been on the show now, we're in season 16. I've known some of these ninjas, you know, well over a decade. We've seen marriages, we've seen, you know, babies, we've seen struggles and you know, the loss of loved ones. And it really, this community has come together, and it's so gratifying to feel like I've gotten to be a part of this, and to, you know, what the passion of these athletes have gone so far beyond the show to, you know, this is a sport. It could be in the Olympics.
Yep.
It's amazing. So it's always fun. Summertime's a good time for Ninja Warrior.
Dude, I was going to talk to you about the Olympics because breakdancing was allowed to go in there this time around.
Yes.
You've got to be able to go in there the next time.
I love it. So I've been doing my homework for the Olympics, and it's called breaking. They said that break dancing is redundant. It's so funny. They're like, it encompasses so much more than dance. I'm like, oh, I love this. And I was watching, like, we've got, the U.S. has the number one favorite guy, this guy, B-Boy Victor. And it's incredible. But anything can happen in a throwdown. And so I can't believe breakdancing is in the Olympics. I mean, I grew up in the 80s. I remember having cardboard and trying to do windmills, and now it's an Olympic sport. So it's nuts. And I love learning about the athletes and, you know, reading their backstories. And it's kind of like Ninja Warrior. Like, you know, the passion of these athletes has grown. This thing started from back in the 70s.
So, but really, when was the last time that a show like this had the continuation of those that are being challenged on the show? In other words, I mean, I remember on American Bandstand, you always wanted those dancers to keep coming back year after year after year. And that's what I love about American Ninja is the fact that they're coming back.
It's crazy. And that's what's really been fun is seeing someone like David Campbell, who's competed in every season, who's now 3 times older than our youngest competitors, because we have 15-year-olds on the course. And it's just insane to say, like, you know, when it started in season 1, he was the only person in the country who had a backyard obstacle course that we knew of. And now, you know, you can't go anywhere in America without being in about an hour or so of a ninja gym. And so it really is cool to see them, you know, really passing the torch to this next generation. And, you know, Arrow, it reminds me of MMA where, like, I remember the first one was in Denver, and it literally was like a boxer and a sumo wrestler and a karate expert. And they were all kind of these people who came from their sports and then learned other disciplines. But then in MMA, you saw what happened when there was a generation that grew up training MMA, that did jiu-jitsu and wrestling and striking and all of it. And that's what's happened with Ninja, because the athletes now, they grew up as Ninja Warriors. And it's insane because, you know, I follow all of them online. I see their training, and they are so good. They challenge themselves so hard that we struggle to design courses that can keep up with this next generation ninja athlete.
But see, that's the fun of it, because doesn't that make you also a student, not just the announcer or the play-by-play guy? You have to be a student to know where it's growing.
Exactly. And that's what's fun, though, is, you know, with social media, it's so great because I follow them. And a lot of times when they do a crazy move, they'll tag us in it. And it's so fun getting to go in there and chime in and just say, like, oh, man, our obstacle designers see this, too. And they see, like, you know, we created a tough obstacle last year, you know, or Duck, Duck, Goose, or one that Sam Folsom created. And then all of a sudden you're seeing them before the seasons aired, the ninjas who competed on it have built it in their gyms, and now you see them conquering it and making it harder. And it's like, oh God, we can't have that obstacle next year because they figured it out. It's just incredible how creative and how determined these athletes are. It's so fun to come up with challenges and to think we got them, and then you see them like figure it out, and it's almost like a scientist going, they solved our problems. They're coming for us now.
You're going to think I'm weird for bringing this up, but in a really weird way, is this show not Evel Knievel 2024?
I mean, your mouth to God's ears. I was lucky enough to get to do Evel Live for the History Channel, where Travis Pastrana recreated Evel's stunts. And there was something about that daredevil, that guy who said, it's impossible. He goes, well, that's why I'm doing it. And we always think that with Ninja, where like we create these courses that you just think they can't do it. And these athletes will launch themselves, launch their bodies. And, we're very fortunate in that our athletes are so well trained, and our course designers do a job to try to keep it safe. But, these athletes, they are hurtling their bodies, sometimes 20 feet in the air, trying to catch them with just fingertips. It's insane, the strains they put on their bodies. And, they're not breaking 200 bones like Evel Knievel, but it's similar. It's in Vegas. There's a lot of energy, and, you never know what you're going to see.
God, I would love to put microphones in several different homes to find out how many curse words we say while you guys are sitting there telling this story, and why you're not cussing right along with us.
Well, so that's what I always say is, listen, I think I'm a tremendous announcer, but I realize all I'm doing is the same stuff you're doing at home. Like, oh no, oh, look out. Oh! It's so funny. Like, someone pointed it out. You guys say the same thing every time somebody falls. It's no, every time, because it's just this visceral reaction where it's like, what's cool is we don't have to be neutral. This isn't like we're calling the Cowboys and the Green Bay Packers, and you have to appear to be neutral. We're fans. We're cheerleaders. We want every person to do as well as they can. And we're invested in them. We've studied their backstories. We've talked to them. We know what they've sacrificed. We want them to do well. And when they fail, it's just like your heart breaks for these athletes. And so, but it's what makes it special. My mom always says, it's like, I hate watching people fall. And I said, but Mom, that's why when they hit the buzzer, it means something. Like, you don't get another try. If you hit a buzzer, you really have accomplished something. And that's what the athletes love. They don't want it to be easy. They want it to know if they did it, if they got a buzzer, if they got through an obstacle, that it meant something, that was hard. And so that's the beauty of it, is the athletes love the challenge.
With that medical degree that you have, how do you also keep in that seat when they do fall like that? Because they've got to be hurting.
Well, we had a dislocated shoulder. This must have been back in season 5 or 6. And they're like, Iseman, can you help? Yeah. And I go, oh my God, it's been And fortunately, one of our competitors was Noah Kaufman, who was an ER doc. He handled that. And since then, we've gotten a lot better about having like trained paramedics. We've learned like you have to have some real specialists there. And, I'm at this point, I'm utterly useless, but we've been very fortunate. We've only had, I think 3 or 4 compound fractures in 16 seasons. And when those happen is when I'm really like, okay, it's been way too long. I am utterly useless. Get the real doctors in here.
Let's be honest about one thing with the listeners, and that is that now during the Olympics there's going to be a 2-week break. But I think the strength of American Ninja Warrior is the fact that, you know what, we're still going to be there no matter what. But I think that listeners need to understand that there's going to be a break. But hey, Matt's going to be back.
Well, that's what's great is, first of all, I think the ninjas in the Olympics share a lot of the DNA about, kind of these everyday people doing these extraordinary things, these people who aren't doing it for hundreds of millions of dollars. But I'm going to be lucky enough. I'm going to be covering the Olympics with the Gold Zone channel. So, Peacock, NBC, this is the most ambitious Olympics ever. There are 396 medal events. You're going to be able to watch every single one streaming or live on broadcast. And so it is going to be, there's sometimes as many as 40 events being contested at once. Yep. I'm going to be hosting the Gold Zone channel with Andrew Siciliano and Scott Hansen, who you might know from the Red Zone channels for the NFL. We're going to be giving you nonstop action, all the big events live as they're happening on Peacock. So Ninja, It'll be a little break. I'll be giving you live Olympics that will come right back for the finales of season 16 on Ninja Warrior. It's going to be a banner summer for Matt Iseman, Ninja, and Olympics.
But see, Matt, we're going to be tuning in just for you. You're that guy.
That's what I say.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying that. Here's the thing. I'm so excited to get to do it. I love, we got to do Tokyo and Beijing, and I love the Olympics for the same reason I love Ninja. For so many of these people who are doing these events, skeet shooting or, archery, like this is it. This is their life's work. This is the one time they get the spotlight on them. And to do it, not just for yourself, but for your country. Mm-hmm. And especially at a time where, it's just, there's so much chaos in the world right now. It's great to say like, hey, let's settle things on the playing field. Let's settle things with sport. And so, I think it's what we all could use right now. Just a relief of normalcy and of people settling things, through physical struggle where, the thing that's usually getting hurt is your ego. and that's the announcers when I try the course mostly. But I'm just looking forward to the summer, and I think people could use a little Ninja and Olympics.
Side-by-side racing back again?
It's back again. I love it. It is edge of your seat. These athletes push themselves. And what's so great is that's really how these ninjas are training now with so many of these other leagues is speed. And, that is something that's always been a part of Ninja. And now we're really kind of, letting these ninjas go head to head. And it's great.
Oh, my God. I just can't imagine where their imaginations go because, they've got to get into that zone right now. Once it starts, you got to go.
It's, and I think that's one of the things you really hit on, Arrow, that we talk about the physical stuff, but to me, the great ninjas, what separates them is the mental game, that ability to turn it on and to be like, hey, you're running at 4 a.m. and you just watch 6 people fall. You got to figure it out. It's cold. You're tired. Where's that internal fortitude? Where's that ability to say, I'm exhausted. I don't have anything left. And then to say, but I'm going to find it. And I look at Jessie Flex Lebrecht. She's has more buzzers than any other woman. I think mentally she is tougher than any other competitor because there were times where I saw it. I saw her body be done, but I saw it in her eyes where she's like, nope, I refuse to quit. And just finding that extra gear. And I love watching, it was like Michael Jordan. Yeah. When you saw all of a sudden someone, piss him off and him get mad, like, oh, you just awakened the giant. And I love seeing that. I love seeing when people find that extra gear as a competitor. As an athlete, I was a nice guy. I only found it a couple times. Mm-hmm. But I love, like, our great athletes, they find a way to push themselves and do things that, even they weren't sure they could do. And those are the moments that I think we all recognize it. It's why we love the movie Rocky, but this is real life, is when you see like that underdog go, hey, here's your chance, that Eminem moment. Like, what would you do with your one shot? And when people make the most of it, there's all of us that kind of cheer and go, wow, that's kind of, they got to be the hero. And we love that. I think that's something so fundamentally American, that story of, hey, with a little hard work and a little luck, you could do something incredible.
Well, mentally speaking, don't you also disappear? Because you seem to be the type of personality that when it's showtime, all of a sudden, then the show is over and you're going, what the hell just happened here?
Yeah, and it's funny because, we tape, and obviously it's not breaking up rocks, but we tape all night, sometimes 5 or 6 nights in a row. And you're yelling the whole time and it can get tiring. And Akbar and I, though, it's the same thing where like we're only tired until a run starts, because as soon as a run starts, both he and I, we were athletes. He obviously a little more advanced than I was, but we both are there where it's like, hey, this is when something special could happen. And I think we both love that because, I was an okay baseball player in college. And, he always says he was a journeyman NFL player. We didn't get a ton of special moments. So the ones we got were meant a lot. And so I think we both love it. And so there is something about when the show happens, we both are there willing these people, wanting it, because selfishly too, we love it when we get a call, a special moment. Like when Casey Catanzaro back in season 6 got up the warp wall, the first woman ever to do it, we were losing our minds. We were like, hey, this is something special. And we get to be a part of it. We get to be the ones describing it. So, it's nice because we don't have to work out nearly as hard as the athletes do, but we still get to kind of share in their glory a little bit.
Matt, come on now, because when you use your voice the way you use your voice, you're using those lungs too. How are you keeping those lungs in shape if you're doing this 5 nights a week?
This is what's funny is I actually had to go to a singing coach because I was blowing my voice out in the first seasons because I was just yelling the whole time, and I had to learn how to, like I'm rock scream. I had to learn how to really like project from the diaphragm and drop the voice down. And it's interesting. Like I do singing vocal exercises. My fiance is like, God, you think you'd be able to sing by now with all the exercises you do? But it's fun. And it really is just that energy of, I love it. I do strongman competitions, and it's the same thing when you're watching someone, deadlift 1,200 pounds, and you just, what I love is it's energy, right? I feel like I'm always trying to impart my energy into the athlete. And, on Ninja, they can only hear us on a few obstacles, but I feel like the people at home, I feel we're all willing them. We're all like willing these people to stay upright, to last, to have their grip last a little bit longer. And so I feel like it's my responsibility to offer as much karmic and psychic and physical energy through my voice as I can.
So are you like me then when it comes to using your diaphragm? There are times that I'll catch myself putting my hand on my stomach to make sure that I'm breathing from that diaphragm. Just because, if I'm up here in my lungs, I'm gonna destroy my vocal cords.
Yeah, it's funny. And, I watch things like about Celine Dion, about how she won't use her voice during the day. And, Vegas is our toughest one. We'll do 6 nights in a row, and maybe more for this coming season. And it's just trying to stay hydrated and trying to sleep and rest. But it's always funny. As soon as the run starts, even if the voice isn't there, you're like, oh my God, it's incredible. You just do whatever you have to do to give the athletes the respect and energy they deserve.
All right, here's a personal question, only because I'm from Montana and we used to run away to the Denver area all the time. Did you learn how to express your true energy because you would spend time at Elitch's hitting those damn roller coasters?
Oh, my God. So I still have a stolen exit sign from the haunted house at Elitch's that's still in my childhood bedroom. Oh, I love the Elitch Gardens. My God, that place in Casa Bonita. Did you ever make it to Casa Bonita?
Yes.
The little Mexican restaurant with the cliff divers. It's funny, Trey Parker and Matt Stone from South Park bought Casa Bonita and restored it lovingly. And I'm hoping to get home during my wedding. When I'm home in September, I'm trying to get a special trip to Casa Bonita going.
Oh my God. You lead such an exciting life, but I'll bet you when it's time for you to rest, you're going, God, I lead a boring life. What is it? How are you able to be so open, and yet what is it like to be Matt at home?
Well, it's funny. I'm very lucky that I get to travel a ton.
Yeah.
I was just in New York. We were doing promo for the Olympics. And before that, I was in Vienna and Italy and then Miami. And so I travel a ton with work. We're going to, we're going for the Olympics in a week. And then I'm in Denver. It's I would say, I don't feel like work is that hard for me,
right?
Other than the long hours. Like it's so fun. I love what I do, and I love when I get to travel. Honestly, time off for me is just sitting at home. This is the first weekend I've had at home this summer where I haven't been traveling. And it's just I've got, 200 sheets of paper in front of me for the Olympics, for my Olympics homework, and just getting ready for that. So it's one of those things that I don't like it to slow down. Yeah. I love work. I love traveling for work because the stuff I'm getting to do it's bucket list stuff. It's covering the Olympics. It's going to host a climate summit in Vienna with Schwarzenegger. It's, it's just, I'm very lucky. And one of the things I always try to do is just periodically stop, take a moment. I was in with Kenan Thompson, who's been on SNL forever. And we're just, we're promoting, he's doing the Olympics with Kevin Hart and I'm doing the Gold Zone. And I'm just sitting there with him. We're on top of 30 Rock. And, we were both like, all right, this is pretty cool right now. And it's fun to just take those moments and go, you know what? I mean, with everything going on in the world right now, just to be like, hey, let's slow down. Let's appreciate. Right now, things are pretty good in my life. I'm getting married in September. Like,
Congratulations.
I'm lucky right now, and just try to enjoy it because you never know when the ride's going to end. So I'm just enjoying it as long as it goes.
Well, you got to come back to this show anytime in the future, Matt. The door is always going to be open for you.
I appreciate it, my friend. It's a good time. I appreciate it. Let me talk about Ninja Warrior and get people hyped up for the Olympics.
Well, you be brilliant and be safe, okay?
God, I love it. I love it. Positive talk here, Errol. Thanks, my friend. You do the same.
Thank you.